Con muy pocos recursos estamos ayudando a productores de comunidades en Honduras y El Salvador para que siembren sus tierras y cuenten con asesoría técnica, sustento e ingresos básicos. Y en los pueblos donde estamos aplicando estas acciones, en particular el programa de Sembrando Vida y el de Jóvenes Construyendo el Futuro, no solo se ha reducido la cantidad de personas que desean emigrar hacia Estados Unidos en busca de oportunidades de trabajo y de mejores condiciones de vida, sino que para muchos jóvenes la delincuencia ha dejado de ser la única posibilidad de sobrevivencia y de salir adelante. El tema migratorio, como otros, fue tratado con amplitud y se llegaron a importantes acuerdos entre los tres países en beneficio de nuestros pueblos. Como se podrá constatar, como ustedes van a saberlo, a través de un comunicado conjunto que se les entregará de manera inmediata. Por último, quiero agradecer al primer ministro Justin Trudeau por su extraordinario y fraterno programa que consiste en otorgar visas temporales de trabajo a jornaleros, obreros. Este programa ya beneficia a 25,000 hombres y mujeres, 25,000 mexicanos. Es un camino a seguir, el de la migración ordenada. El primer ministro Trudeau es un gran aliado de México. Al presidente Biden, mi agradecimiento sincero por mantener con México una relación de cooperación, de amistad sincera, de respeto a nuestros paisanos que viven y trabajan honradamente en Estados Unidos y que no son acosados ni padecen de redadas como sucedía lamentablemente en otros tiempos. Ya lo hemos dicho y lo repito ahora. Usted es el primer presidente de Estados Unidos en mucho tiempo que no ha construido ni un metro de muro, y eso se lo agradecemos. Aunque no les guste a los conservadores. De manera especial, quiero dejar de manifiesto que le he solicitado respetuosamente al presidente Biden que se insista, y sé que no es un asunto sencillo, pero es justo y por eso lo planteo. Además, le tengo plena confianza al presidente Biden y le he pedido que insista ante el Congreso de Estados Unidos para regularizar la situación migratoria de millones de mexicanos que llevan años viviendo, trabajando y contribuyendo en el desarrollo de esa gran nación que es Estados Unidos. He reafirmado que el presidente Biden es un hombre con convicciones, que mantiene principios, ideales para garantizar como muchos otros, mujeres, hombres, en Estados Unidos y en el mundo, que la Estatua de la Libertad nunca, jamás se convierta en un símbolo vacío. Termino diciendo que mi maestro, el gran poeta Carlos Pellicer, en 1930 sostenía que el anhelo de la libertad es el más grande fruto que ha cuajado el corazón humano. Para ser justos es necesario ser libres. Los sentimientos de justicia son hijos de la libertad, pues nunca, nunca siendo esclavos podremos ser justos. Muchas gracias.
A continuación, daremos inicio a una sesión de preguntas y respuestas. Por parte de la prensa de Estados Unidos de América, el excelentísimo señor Joseph Biden Jr., presidente de los Estados Unidos de América, elegirá a un reportero de dicho país.
All right, I was having trouble hearing, but I'd like to call on Associated Press Colleen Long for the first question.
Thanks, Mr. President. Hola, señor, and hi, Prime Minister Trudeau. For Mr. President, you've been accused of being too soft on border security and now too hard following the recent border policy changes. What's the right balance? And on the news at home, can you explain how classified documents ended up in one of your offices, and should the public have been notified sooner? For Prime Minister Trudeau, there's been a suggestion that Canada lead a multinational security force in Haiti. I wondered if that was a possibility and what you would need. Y señor usted presidente, muchas gracias por la bienvenida esta semana. Quiero preguntar, you said you would accept, you would be willing to accept more migrants arriving to the U.S.-Mexico border. What do you want from the U.S. in return?
Answer first? Well, let me get rid of the easy one first. People know I take classified documents and classified information seriously. When my lawyers were clearing out my office at the University of Pennsylvania, they set up an office for me, secure office in the Capitol. When for 4 years after being vice president, I was a professor at Penn. They found some documents in a box in a locked cabinet, or at least a closet. And as soon as they did, they realized there were several classified documents in that box. And they did what they should have done. They immediately called the archives, turned them over to the archives, and I was briefed about this discovery and surprised to learn that there were any government records that were taken there to that office. But I don't know what's in the documents. My lawyers have not suggested I ask what documents they were. I've turned over the boxes, they've turned over the boxes to the archives, and we're cooperating fully with the review, and which I hope will be finished soon, and there'll be more detail at that time. The first question now I forgot. Your first question related to?
I asked if the
I'm only joking. The answer is you've got both extremes are wrong. It's a basic middle proposition. Here, look. As was mentioned by all of us in one way or another, this has been the greatest migration in human history around the world, as well as in this hemisphere. And when I got elected, the first major piece of legislation I introduced was to reform the immigration process, to make it more orderly. to make sure people have access under the law. And so what we found out, and not just in my visit to El Paso, but before that, we found out is that our Republican friends and a few Democrats are very critical of what's going on at the border, but yet refused to even look at the detailed document I submitted for the Congress to consider to reform the process completely. And so number one, right now, a majority of our migrants are coming from 4 countries: Venezuela, Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua. And we're expanding the very successful parole program we had with regard to Venezuela to Cuba and to Nicaragua and to Haiti to provide safe and orderly and humane processing for people fleeing those countries to come to the United States and claiming seeking asylum. And this is going to reduce the number of people illegally trying to cross the border. Venezuelans were trying to enter the country that has dropped off dramatically because we've allowed them to go directly to whatever country, the first country they go to, directly contact the United States, make sure that they make their application, showing that they do a background check, they in fact have access to a sponsor, and that they've been examined. And that way they're able to come through ports of entry. And it's dropped off, I'm going to make sure I get the numbers right, dramatically from 1,100 persons trying to enter per day to 250 a day. I've asked and I want to thank the President of Mexico for agreeing to take up to 3,000 people back that don't meet this criteria. Because look, right now, the cartels make a lot of money, which they use for drug trafficking as well. People have to make it through jungles and a long journey to the border, and many are victimized, not only in terms of what they have to pay, but victimized physically in other ways. And so we're trying to make it easier for people to get here, opening up the capacity to get here, but not have them go through that god-awful process. We're going to continue our efforts to address the root causes of migration, to help people stay in their home countries. I've asked the Congress for $4 billion to provide for that. We've also had our Vice President provide for private donations of over $3 billion to make sure that people, look, all of you know, all of us in the United States are immigrants. Mine go all the way back to the Irish famine, but the point is all of us have been immigrants. And one of the things that comes across fairly clearly is it's not like people sit in their home city, county, town and say, I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have. Give it to a coyote, go through some jungles and a long path up to the United States, smuggle us across the border, drop us in a desert, and won't that be fun in a country we don't even speak the language? We can do more than merely just make legal immigration more streamlined, but we can also do it by preventing people from wanting to have to leave in the first place, by helping their communities, in fact, better their circumstances. And so I hope, and by the way, my proposals are supported by the Chamber of Commerce, by the American Labor Movement, which is an unusual coalition, and a whole range of people. The point here is that my Republican friends in Congress should join us in the solutions. And the one last point I'll make, and I'm sorry to go on so long, but we spend a lot of time talking about it, is we have to increase the technological capabilities at the border, both to intercept illegal drugs and other contraband, as well as people being smuggled across the border. We have now the ability to use, some of you have seen them, I know you have, I'm sure, these trucks that ride alongside of a tractor trailer. It's like a giant x-ray machine. And it can determine what's inside that tractor trailer, and thousands cross the border every day in legal commerce. And so we're allowed to determine whether or not there are fentanyls in there, drugs in there, people being smuggled across the border. We're going to provide significantly more of those vehicles for the people to be able to determine at the border what is coming across legally and illegally. A lot more to say, but I've probably already said too much. Thank you.
Por parte de la prensa de Canadá, preguntará David Cochrane de CBC al excelentísimo señor Justin Trudeau, primer ministro de Canadá.
Your question, and I'll fold the Haiti question in as well.
Okay, thank you, Prime Minister. A question for you and for President Biden as well. President Biden, you've talked a lot about economic cooperation and building continental supply chains and resilience here. But since you've been president, Canadians have seen what they consider to be protectionist, U.S. protectionism from you and things such as the Buy American Act. So what assurances can you give to Canadians and Mexicans watching this at home that there will be equal partners in the economic opportunity you're talking about in this transition and not have to confront further attempts at American protectionism? President Lopez Obrador, if you have anything to say on that, we'd love to hear it. And Prime Minister Trudeau, if you can answer the Haiti question, but also explain to us what steps your government needs to take advantage of this opportunity on the continental supply chain resiliency to ensure that Canadian companies make things like semiconductors and don't just supply critical minerals to American companies.
Thank you very much. First on Haiti, the situation in Haiti is heartbreaking. Canada has stood with the people of Haiti for decades, including over the past 2 years with multiple interventions with the UN, with other partners on the ground, military interventions, police interventions, even prison guards. We have continued to stand with the people of Haiti, and we will continue to. Obviously, this current situation is heart-wrenching. And we need to continue to be there for the people of Haiti, but we need to make sure that the solutions are driven by the people of Haiti themselves. That's why Canada's focus, as we've stepped up over the past months, has been, first of all, in putting significant sanctions on the elites who are responsible for so much of the violence and political instability in Haiti. A handful of small, extraordinarily wealthy families in Haiti have been causing much of the strife because of political and pecuniary interests, and that is why the sanctions that Canada has put forward are causing significant impacts on the ground. We're also moving forward with significant supports for the Haitian National Police, including with armored vehicles that the Americans have stepped up on as well, to ensure that the police is able to stabilize the situation on the ground. Obviously, there's much more to do. We've sent down a group of interlocutors to work both on the political side, but also to liaise directly with the security officials on the ground so that we can be responsive in immediate ways to what is needed for the Haitian National Police to get a better control and ensure greater stability for the people of Haiti. The UN called in September for the free flow of food, medicines, water, and fuel. Much of that has started again. It's still not where it needs to be, but we're going to continue to lean in on ensuring that that happens. But at the same time, we are working with partners across the Caribbean and indeed with the United States and Mexico to ensure that if the situation starts to deteriorate once again, we will have options. But like I said, we're going to make sure that what we do this time allows for the Haitian people to get the situation under control, and a big part of that is putting those sanctions on the Haitian leadership that are responsible for so much of the misery people are going through. In regards to the continental supply chain, that was at the center of our conversations throughout this North American Leaders Summit. The idea that we already work extraordinarily well together with NAFTA, but there's so much more we can be doing at a time where supply chains around the world are under increasing stress, and significant economic actors around the world are becoming less reliable as partners and less desirable as partners in building the technologies and the energy futures that we want. That's why You brought up a few examples of it. Our critical minerals approach, a strategy that we just released a few weeks ago, is focused not just on mining the critical minerals that Canada has, that North America and the world needs in responsible environmental partnership with Indigenous peoples, doing it the right way, but also the development, the processing, the transforming into batteries, the transforming into technology that goes along the value chain as something that is important for Canada. And yes, it's something that we're continuing to look at. It's the same thing with electric vehicles, where we're building electric vehicles with our partners in Mexico and in the United States. But Canada, again, from the critical minerals that go into the batteries and the batteries themselves that we're starting to build, to the steel and aluminum that is amongst the cleanest in the world being developed in Canada, to the technology, the innovation from AI to engineering that is part of it. Canada is very much a partner in what we're developing in terms of more resilient supply chains. So there's lots more to do. Indeed, even on semiconductors, the largest semiconductor packaging plant in North America, I believe, is in Bromont, Quebec. And packaging of semiconductors is actually how you assemble them into a unit that can then do the high value calculations and computations that need to happen. These are the kinds of things that Canada is very much focused on in ensuring not just prosperity right now, but good jobs as we move towards a environmentally responsible, net zero, socially inclusive future that the middle class in all three of our countries are relying on. Oui, brièvement en français. Sur Haïti, le Canada a toujours été là pour aider le peuple haïtien et on est en train de travailler avec nos partenaires dans la région pour assurer des meilleures solutions pour le peuple haïtien. On est là avec des sanctions sur les élites. On est là avec de l'aide pour la police nationale haïtienne. Mais on va continuer. Et on a eu des bonnes discussions là-dessus aujourd'hui, de travailler avec nos partenaires, incluant les États-Unis et les pays des Caraïbes, pour s'assurer qu'on continue de mettre et de garder les Haïtiens eux-mêmes au centre des solutions dont ils ont besoin. Par rapport aux chaînes d'approvisionnement et par rapport à l'intégration économique et la compétitivité en Amérique du Nord, que ce soit au niveau des véhicules électriques, que ce soit au niveau des minéraux critiques qu'on a dans nos mines, mais qu'on va aussi développer pour produire des batteries, des technologies nécessaires, ou même que ce soit par rapport à d'autres technologies, on va toujours être là pour travailler ensemble parce qu'on sait que ce que l'Amérique du Nord peut offrir comme solution et comme compétition au reste du monde est une vraie force pour nos trois économies.
Prensa de México, preguntará Sara Pablo de Grupo Fórmula al licenciado Andrés Manuel López Obrador, presidente constitucional de los Estados Unidos mexicanos.
Gracias, presidente. Primer ministro, buenas tardes. Los comunicadores de México hemos acordado algunas preguntas para el presidente Biden. Sé que recién anunció que Estados Unidos va a recibir a ciudadanos no solo de Venezuela, sino también de Haití, de Cuba, de Nicaragua. ¿En qué tiempo se podría ampliar el número de personas que puedan recibir? Si esto también se podría para algunas otras naciones, si se podrían sumar, y qué cantidad va a invertir Estados Unidos en mejoras tecnológicas. Al presidente López Obrador preguntarle cómo se va a preparar México para recibir a todos los migrantes que va a expulsar Estados Unidos, en qué consiste este nuevo centro migratorio que se va a construir en el sur de México, qué funciones va a tener y si después de esta cumbre pues podremos ver un cambio realmente en las políticas migratorias, en el trato que reciben los migrantes concretamente. Y finalmente, hablar también para el presidente Biden del tema del fentanilo, qué acciones concretas se van a llevar a cabo, qué impacto podría tener esta detención de Ovidio Guzmán, dado que el cártel del Pacífico es uno de los principales productores de fentanilo. Y finalmente, ahora sí, preguntar también sobre el tema de las consultas en el sector energético, si el presidente Biden, el primer ministro Trudeau plantearon este tema en esta mesa. Gracias.
Bueno, pues tratamos el tema migratorio de manera amplia. Desde luego que hay cooperación con el gobierno de Estados Unidos y al mismo tiempo tenemos el compromiso de proteger a los migrantes. Lo que ha planteado el presidente Biden es absolutamente cierto. Si atraviesan nuestro país y en algunos casos otros países de América Latina para llegar a Estados Unidos, los migrantes corren muchos riesgos, empezando porque son víctimas de los traficantes de personas, coloquialmente conocidos como coyotes o polleros, que les cobran una cantidad para llevarlos al norte. Esos polleros, coyotes, tienen redes y a su vez contratan camiones, trailers. En una caja de un tráiler pueden transportar a 300, 400 personas. Son constantes los accidentes en las carreteras de México, desgraciadamente. Y lo peor es que muchos migrantes son secuestrados por la delincuencia, asesinados, algo muy triste, muy doloroso. Por eso hablo de la protección. Nosotros lo que queremos es una solución de fondo. Siempre lo hemos sostenido, que la gente no deja, también como lo planteó el presidente Biden, sus pueblos, a sus familias por gusto, lo hacen por necesidad. Entonces, siempre hemos planteado que hay que atender las causas, que hay que procurar que la gente pueda trabajar y ser feliz donde nació, donde están sus familiares, sus costumbres, sus culturas, y que se necesita invertir en el desarrollo de los países con más desigualdad y pobreza, que la migración sea opcional, no forzosa. En tanto logramos eso, porque no quitamos el dedo del renglón, México con pocos recursos está ayudando, ya lo expresé, en comunidades de Honduras, de El Salvador, ya vamos a empezar en Guatemala, en Belice, pero necesitamos impulsar más el desarrollo y el bienestar para garantizar oportunidades a quienes se ven obligados a emigrar de sus comunidades. No tenemos pensado construir ningún centro en el sureste para la migración. Lo que hacemos es ayudar con albergues, con atención médica, con alimentos a los migrantes. Y celebramos el que el gobierno de Estados Unidos haya tomado la decisión de ordenar el flujo migratorio en el caso de nuestros hermanos venezolanos, y tengo entendido ya este plan se va a extender, se va a ampliar beneficio de otros migrantes de otros países. Nos consta que desde que se anunció de que iban a darse estas visas, estos permisos humanitarios, en el caso de la población de Venezuela, se redujo el flujo migratorio, la travesía por nuestro país, considerablemente, porque se anunció en Estados Unidos y esto se hizo público en todos lados, de que iban a entregar 24,000 visas o permisos humanitarios, que habían que hacer los trámites, y a pesar de que hay ciertos requisitos que se tienen que cumplir, la gente optó por esa opción. Se abrió una vía que no existía. Todo era llegar a Estados Unidos arriesgando la vida. Ahora, con este mecanismo aprobado, pueden hacer su solicitud y les puede llevar tiempo, pero hay la esperanza de que se va a lograr el propósito de ir a Estados Unidos a trabajar, a vivir. Eso nosotros lo celebramos y pensamos que lo que está haciendo, repito, Canadá es también lo correcto. Y hablaba yo de nuestra experiencia y se pueden revisar los datos. Por circunstancias, antes la migración mayor correspondía a los hermanos países de Centroamérica, pero también durante mucho tiempo de mexicanos que iban a buscarse la vida y a trabajar a Estados Unidos. Nada más imaginemos que hay 40 millones